Hello, my R6 players. I'm currently eating cereal right now. I did not go to sleep, and I was hearing and I was looking at the how would you say this? The I won't call it T. I always call it the. I was looking at the about Siege. About it's dying. Fix your game, save Siege. I know I seen hashtag save Siege. I like it. Like a community that cares about a game, like Rainbow Six Siege. This is a reminder. It shows who would have thought a community would come together just to save a game. Like if you want to bring up games, I've never seen a game do that before. Like no one is screaming, save this game, save that game, like people either leave it, complain, or just give up. But it seems like us creators and players and, you know, bots, we love the game. So these are the ops on attack and defense that is, I won't say overpowered, I won't say overrated, but, excuse me, I would say they're out of the ordinary, meaning you wouldn't see this in like a IRL, like a real life situation, but in a sense, you would see these operators in like a real life scenario. But just to like make more sense before I even start, when I mean by unoriginal, I mean like they're unique in their own way, and they have passives that much people that don't know or don't talk about. So let me just put these boys down. All right, my bad. I'm still eating cereal, but duh, I am. I don't know why I did that. Like, whatever. Now you have Warden. He can counter Ying, Smokes, Flashes. You have Visual. The Ayana clone, if you don't know, it's literally a camera. So if you go into Visual's ability and Ayana is on her clone, she won't see you. Ayana, drones, Lion Scan, Demo Scan, and Grimbees. You have Alibi, Angles. If you don't know, Alibi, her clones can actually be used in a different way rather than having a drone come through if they don't have Twitch. But using alibi clones in a unique way can also help you a lot if you don't know. So don't discard her. You have pulse, you have heartbeats, and you have finka. Finka means when you use your finka boost, your heart rate does go up. So that means it will be seen farther. So pulse can basically see you at a better distance if you use a finka boost. You have Scopos. She could teleport and a bulletproof camera. Literally, like, you can say, what's her ability? Like, she can just teleport. Her ability is really a movable bulletproof camera. And bro, the fucking low battery shit popped up. And then she can literally be in two places at once. You have Caviar, you have Silent Step. You have Solus, can see util, scan, and she can fuck. What else she could do? Like she could see util, she could scan, and she can also see like IQ. So in a way, like it's like they can both see each other, but in a way that you have bomb down, you have some type of like air jab, claymore, like anything util wise. Solus could see it, and she could scan. And there's another thing, but I forgot the analogy I put. It's like SA, and then like by. Oh, yes, she can support alibi. You know, and I don't want to get into that, but she can. Solus can support alibi in a way. You have Tubral, ice, stop util, so he can freeze it. He can see footprints. So if Tubral throws an iceberg, above him, and then someone's above him and they walk on it, you can see their footprints. You have Russian Bear. You have uh, he can have pretty much. Russian Bear is sorry, I that was a cliffhanger. Russian Bear is Maestro. Yes, Russian Bear is Maestro. But I know he's Italian. I know he's Italian. Shut up. But yeah, he literally has bulletproof cameras, and then he has a camera that can like shoot. You know, he can zap people. You have Clash. You know, so explanatory. You have Azami, self-explanatory. You have Wame. You may not think Wame is not unordinary, but he's really not. If you tend to stack up his magnets at good angles, and then there's need of like a flash, or there's need of like a frag, those magnets would catch the frag and flashes in the act. You know, so it's like you won't get cleared out as often if you know how to use Wame. You have AZ Azami, you have Fenrir, and you have Mozzie. Mozzie is kind of unordinary because he can still get his drone back and then get your drone if you know hack it. So it's just going hack for hack, really. And then you have the attackers. You have Glass, IQ, Jackal, Ying, Doki, Nook, Amaru, Ayana, Flores, Osa, Sins, Grim, Brava, Ram, excuse, Deimos, and Aurora. You know? It's like, how can Rainbow Six Siege work around these operators? You know, and you may think all the operators I named on both sides, they take up half of the whole loadout. When I mean loadout, I mean like the whole, like, these are like half of the operators. Like, this is like a third of all the operators. And I think for both sides we have 32 operators, 35 maybe. These are half of the operators. It says a lot when these operators are literally broken. And that's what I mean by like unordinary, you know, like attack and defense. They're broken. And you may say, what the fuck? Nook's trash. She's not broken. Bro, one word, blind. She's something like visual, but she's nothing like visual. She gives no indication that there's a Nook unless she runs. Visual Gadget gives you an indication when he's around you, even if he's in his gadget. Even if he's not running, you know? So it's like, you know, imagine Nook not being Nook. That makes no sense, right? So now imagine Nook being Nook. You would never know how would Nook. You would never know how good Nook actually is if you actually have people who dwell on cameras, people who dwell on intel. I'm telling you right now, bro. You could zoom past everything, bro. And I could probably say this. Shit. What if Nook could go undetected on Malusi's? You never know. And you know what? What if we buff Nook? Her ability, she can jam enemy util in a bit of a range. So imagine a movable Thatcher. Imagine a mobile Thatcher. You wouldn't even need Thatcher, but you still would for throwables. But imagine Nook turning on her ability, and let's just say she walks past a mute jammer. It would disarm that mute jammer. Then it would defeat the mute. You know, like it would turn off cap cans. It would, you know, if Nook is supposed to be like a Caviar 2.0, why can't she just zim through shit? But the only bad thing is like, you know, it would take away from her ability, you know? Like, her ability is like, she can still silent step. What if they bring back silent step for Nook? Bring back Nook silent step, but her ability, like, she would be able to still go in that silent mode, but instead of her doing it with only cameras, she can do it with gadgets as well. So every time she's walking, she's disrupting every single thing. So it's like, I mean, it would kind of be a downfall of Nook because Nook is like, like camouflage, she's like, she has like a camera over her head. So it would make sense if, she is what she is now. But what if they buffed her, buff Nook? But I sit here and say, why did I name all these operators? Why did I just sit here and like try my best just to break something up? The point is, all the operators I called out, it just shows that, I damn near already said it, but it just shows that these operators are all good, but then again, people barely use them only because they have nothing to work with, you know? So it's like, how can we make Osa a good operator to use when we want to do something, you know? Osa is only pretty much used if you want to do like a certain plant, she's not bad, but you wouldn't recommend her for most plays. Remember now, she's not bad. You have Brava. Brava's not bad, but you won't use her for most plays. But you can use her if your team like uh responds and your team like they dwell on util, get Brava. And you have Amaru. You may think Amaru is trash. Amaru is something like an element surprise. You never know when she's coming. You can't beat that, right? You have Ayana. No one really uses Ayana for her ability, just her weapon and her skin. But I would say Ayana, she can be used in many of ways. Making things a 6v6. I say 6v6 because now you have Scopos on the defense side, 6v6, let's draw someone out, let's trick somebody, let's make someone risk a double swing, let's get a 2-for-1, like, let's use Ayana for what she's actually, supposed to be used for, And then you have Sins. You can't say much about Sins, but let's say you have a Rooney and then I throw a Sins roly-poly right under your Rooney gate and I'm covering the whole doorway, game over, instead of just clearing it, breaking the gate and just going right through, So it be small things like that, like when operators are not used for like their ability much, just so what they've got in their inventory, It's like you don't see me running around with Ash trying to Ash charge everything. No, I'm with Ash running around ashing everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you would make a change in your gameplay just because of certain op you use. You wouldn't have Thermite run across the screen try to think he's Ash trying to get a 5k. No, you would have Ash do that. You would have entry. You wouldn't make Thermite entry. And just to make it make more sense on like on the same topic, it's just the fact that that's how Rainbow looks at things. It's like if you use that operator, you're expected to do certain things. And again, all these operators I named from attack and defense, it just shows all these operators, they're broken, but they're broken enough that no one really uses them for their brokenness. We use them for their weapons, and that's what really makes them broken. It's like when you see someone using a visual in a lion scan or like they get demos tracked, they don't even use their ability. They use it to get away but don't move. But I would say like I see it in like higher ranks, they don't even bother to like run around while being undetected, only because they know the attackers is waiting for them downstairs from upstairs, just to wait for like a fallback. So it's like there's no point of using the visual scanner if I'm not gonna be detected, but then again still be detected mentally because they know I'm gonna come back flanking up the same right side, and then kill me, not even realizing I was already coming, So it's like it goes a long way. But I'll just say this: it makes it difficult for players to really play the game when they don't know what operators do. And the game tells you, you can go to the pause menu and the game literally shows you any game what these operators do when you pick them. But it goes a long way on saying that how would you use it in a how would you use it in a live game? Because you can see Thermite, for example. Thermite, all it has is him going to a wall, putting his breach charge, and detonating it, and explodes the wall. In a copper mine, that's simple. But now when it comes to people trying to bandit trick, a Kaid trick, runouts, C4 tricks, how does it make this Thermite? How does this Thermite know that all I had to do is get the wall? It's like all I gotta do. There's a lot of counters trying to overly defend your position as a defender. And I'm not gonna lie, I must say, half of your defenders buff some of them, nerf some of them. I can't sit here and say who to buff, who to nerf, but pick and choose, honestly. Same thing as for attackers. Buff some of them, nerf some of them. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, Nook. What if Nook can actually walk around and disarm every fucking thing? She'll be a walking EMP with silence tech. You know what I'm saying? And it can't be seen from cameras because she can. You know what I'm saying? That's a huge turn for Nook. It won't make a pick rate, but it'll make an interest to pick her to see how this can actually work, and just mentally break down your team, mentally break down your opponent. You have Ram. Ram is Ram, but I wouldn't say give her back her shotgun because I feel like she's fine without it now. But shit, what if Ram can not only ram floors, she can ram and be a fuse 2.0, She's ramming the floor while having fuse charges going down. Just like a fucking anti-tank. But now let's just say Fuse loses his fuse charges, and let's just say he gets a new gadget where he can be a Mav and a Thermite in one. So what it does is he can control basically where to cut from. So imagine you making your own design on a reinforced wall, but instead of you using a torch, you have to be all up on it or placing it down. You can throw it and it makes a unique hole that when it fuses, there's a regular fuse sound, and then it cracks open the wall, kind of like a soda can, So you would kind of think of like a small breach charge, but it would be a circle. But for the fuse, it would be much sort of like a shape you would want to put at, So kind of like Habana trying to switch out your pellets, but you wouldn't have pellets. It would be a gadget you would throw right on the reinforced wall, and you can choose what shape you want to shape out to carve that in. So on the enemy team, they would see probably lines going zigzag, upside down, in circles. You're basically trying to cut out certain spots on the reinforced wall, and you get the wall, And honestly, I do hope this shit does make sense. I thought, it was going to be cool, but like again, the main topic of this video was just all those operators I named from attack and defense. It takes up that's majority of the roster. That's it. That's an issue, a big issue. So, just I don't know, Siege. I hope this comes from a different mindset, but I'm done talking, letting it play out for a little bit. Just watch me go trash. But like always, have fun.